what would happen if you were to literally reach into a cell and pull out every single organelle? I mean, if you just yanked out the nucleus, the mitochondria, and the ribosomes, would you just be left with an empty, floppy bag of fluid? Well, the answer is a massive no. Inside that seemingly formless fluid space is a hidden, highly structured network that keeps everything from just completely collapsing. Sure, there's fluid in there, but more importantly, there's this incredible, complex web of fibers holding the entire cellular world together. By the end of this explainer, you're going to understand the three main pillars of this hidden skeleton. We're looking at the cytoskeleton itself, microfilaments, intermediate filaments, microtubules, cilia, and flagella, and then we'll wrap up with a summary. Okay, let's dive right in. Biologists call this network the cytoskeleton. Basically, it's a network of protein fibers. But here's the kicker. It actually enables cellular movement. It's not just a rigid set of bones. Yes, it maintains the cell's shape and secures the organelles in place, but it's super dynamic. It allows the inside to shift around and the cell itself to travel. Part 1, microfilaments, the rubber bands. Now that we've got the basic idea down, let's look at the absolute narrowest fiber in this system. Meet the microfilaments. At only about 7 nanometers wide, these guys are the thinnest components of the entire cytoskeleton. Structurally, they're made of 2 intertwined strands of a protein called actin. Because of this, you'll actually hear scientists just call them actin filaments all the time. Now, the absolute most crucial thing to know about them is that they can depolymerize. That means they can rapidly disassemble, break apart, and then snap right back together in a totally new configuration. Think of these microfilaments like tiny cellular rubber bands. They resist tension and give the cell's outer layer a bit of flexible rigidity. In your own body, these actin rubber bands serve as little tracks for a motor protein called myosin. And honestly, this is huge because every single time you bend your arm or take a step, those actin and myosin filaments are sliding past each other, which is exactly what causes your muscles to contract. Let's look at another real-life example to see this rapid disassembly in action. Imagine a white blood cell, one of your body's main infection fighters, and it detects a harmful bacteria. Because those actin microfilaments can break down and rebuild in literally fractions of a second, that white blood cell can actually shift its physical shape, crawl right over to the infection, and completely engulf the pathogen to neutralize the threat. Wait, hold on, this is important. If the cell's outer shape relies on these microfilaments, and they're constantly breaking down and rebuilding so the cell can move, how does the cell survive without just collapsing in on itself? Well, the reason is simple. It doesn't rely on just one type of fiber. The cell has a completely different set of fibers dedicated purely to permanent structure. Part 2, intermediate filaments, the scaffolding. This brings us to the second major piece of our hidden skeleton, the intermediate filaments. They get their name because at 8 to 10 nanometers wide, they sit right in the middle between our thinnest and thickest fibers. They're made of several intertwined strands of fibrous proteins. But here is the fundamental difference you've got to remember. Intermediate filaments have absolutely zero role in cell movement. Their job is purely structural. They are the scaffolding. They bear the tension and act as these heavy-duty anchors, literally locking the nucleus and other vital organelles firmly in place so they aren't just sloshing around. These are actually the most diverse group of cytoskeletal elements, and I guarantee you're intimately familiar with them. The most famous protein in this category? Keratin. Yep, this is the exact cellular scaffolding that gives immense physical strength to your hair, your fingernails, and the protective outer layer of your skin. Part 3, microtubules, the highway system. So we've got the rubber bands for movement and the scaffolding for structure. Let's move on to the biggest component, which brings us right back to dynamic activity. Microtubules. At about 25 nanometers in diameter, these are the widest parts of the cytoskeleton. Unlike the intertwined strands we've talked about so far, microtubules are actually small, hollow tubes. Their walls are made of 2 proteins called alpha-tubulin and beta-tubulin. And while our other fibers resist being pulled, microtubules are rigid enough to resist compressive forces. Basically, they keep the cell from getting crushed from the outside. And this perfectly sets up their most fascinating job, acting as a microscopic highway system. Just imagine these hollow pipes laying down tracks all throughout the inside of the cell. Motor proteins literally lock onto these tracks and physically walk along them, carrying vital materials from one side of the cell to the exact opposite side. Plus, when a cell gets ready to divide, it's these exact same tracks that grab hold of your chromosomes and powerfully pull them apart.
Now, you might be wondering, we've only been talking about the inside of the cell. Are these highway tracks only found inside the plasma membrane?
Part 4. Cilia and flagella. To answer that, let's step to the outside of the cell. We have two main types out here, cilia and flagella. Cilia are these short, hair-like structures. They usually show up in massive numbers, sometimes covering the entire outside of the cell. For instance, cilia line your respiratory tract, waving constantly to trap dust and push it back up towards your nose. Flagella, on the other hand, are much longer and designed purely to propel the entire cell forward. A cell usually only has one or two of these, like the long tail you see on a human sperm cell. But what's truly mind-blowing about cilia and flagella is their internal architecture. Even though they look totally different and do different things, if you slice them open, they share the exact same structural blueprint. It's called the 9+2 array. It is literally a ring of 9 microtubule doublets surrounding a single pair right in the center. Nature found an engineering design that works flawlessly for external motion and just universally stuck with it. Part 5. Summary and final thought. Let's quickly summarize what we've covered today. Let's look at the big picture here. We've talked a ton about animal cells, but what about other forms of life? Well, external movement tools vary a lot. Plant cells don't have cilia and rarely have flagella. But look at the skeleton itself. It's a universal yes across the board. Whether you're looking at a simple bacteria, a complex animal cell, or a plant cell, having this internal protein skeleton is literally a fundamental requirement for life. So here's the big takeaway from this explainer. Without this hidden microscopic skeleton constantly building scaffolding and running a tiny highway system, your white blood cells couldn't fight infections. Your cells couldn't divide. Your muscles couldn't even contract. You simply wouldn't exist. Now we know how single cells maintain their shape and move, but how do millions of these highly structured cells actually physically connect to one another to form the tissues of a complete human being? Well, that is exactly what we're going to explore in our next explainer.